Lacrimosa just released in NTE, and as a Chaos unit, the only one besides Daffodil, she is probably a must pull for your account. Not only is she an insane DPS, she can be a very good support if you pull for a dupe, and she honestly makes your life very easy. She is just a very good character, so today I'm here to bring you everything about her, from the rotations to arcs, etc, my usual guides to provide you the best guide on Lacrimosa. Welcome guys, I'm Akira, and let's dive right into it. In this guide we will cover Esper Abilities, arcs, console build, awakenings, teams and rotations, as well as pros and cons. Start with her Esper Abilities. First of all, obviously this is her basic 5 basic attack string on her melee mode, because you need to understand that Lacrimosa can be either melee or ranged, and you can swap based on whatever feels best for you or based on the enemies. Personally, I always use ranged, and now this is what ranged looks like and how to swap. To swap, you need to press your G on the keyboard if you're playing on PC, and now you have swapped. If you didn't notice, it also does a tiny attack when you swap. Look, if I press G, it does this tiny attack, okay? This is what signals that you swapped between both modes. Her redirect skill looks like this, and then you can follow up with a basic attack for some extra damage, and you can copy enemy skills. This is the part that makes her kit the best, and I will get into what skills are the best for her. To copy a skill, you want to aim at an enemy, and now you have copied his skill. Important to know that you can use both her skill and the copied skill in a rotation, and I will get to that later. You can also copy some bosses, like Atlas Rider. Oopsie. And keep in mind that when you copy a skill and then you use it, you will get a portion of the copied skill's owner attack. She also has 2 ultimates. This is her melee ultimate, actually this is her ranged ultimate, and this is her melee ultimate. Okay, so this part is really important, guys. When you copy a skill with her, you can use her skill, swap to another character, then use her 5 basic attack string, and use her normal skill without copy because they don't share the cooldown. And then you can ultimate and repeat the process because your copied skill will be available. It would look something like this, but I don't have the character to swap to, so I'm gonna exemplify without swapping, and later in the rotations I will show you properly. So you can do skill, and then 5 basic attacks, and look at my skill cooldown. It came back, so now I use my skill, follow up, and now I would ultimate, and this is the cooldown on the copied skill, okay? The thing about Lacrimosa as well is that you can turn into a bat when you're out of combat for exploration. You just need to hold dodge, so it would look something like this, and you can fly. Also, her basic attack applies nightmare stacks, which deal chaos damage over time. Also, if you do her plunging attack, which you probably never will, but in case you do, just know that you will increase your damage up to 100% based on the fall height. A support skill is just an instance of chaos damage. Her skill and her ultimate I've shown you. Her passive one will enhance the Discord reaction, and it will basically make you deal an additional damage equal to 400% of the attack of Lacrimosa's attack to the target when Discord is triggered if the target is already broken. So you need to have the target broken before doing this. And honestly guys, I've done some insane numbers with this. It's really good. And then her passive 2 will grant you an additional attempt of Morning Tomato when you use Tomato Metal or Tomato Percussion 5 times during the skill cooldown, and activates only 1 time per skill cooldown. And obviously, like Morning Tomato, in case you guys don't know, is the name of her own skill, not the copied one. And Tomato Metal or Tomato Percussion are the names of her basic attacks in melee and ranged. So this means that the mechanic that I showed you guys before, when you hit 5 times so you can cast your normal skill even after casting the copied skill, is unlocked by unlocking your passive 2. Also, this lets you know that you can only activate it 1 time per skill cooldown. So when you copy the skill of a monster and you use it, you can then use this 1 time, and then on the next cooldown of that copied skill, you can use this another time. Life skill is okay, you can upgrade if you want, and their second life skill is very good because it just reduces the grind in Pink Paw's Heist. Especially the Pawpaw Coins part, because it increases you 20% of whatever you get in Pawpaw Coins, which is completely amazing since that can give you analysts and skins. For the upgrade priority, you want to first maximize basic attack, then the passive 1, then her passive 2, then her skill, then her ultimate, and then her support skill. Also, my top 3 copied skills right now are the Never-Ending Arachne, the Tomato Devil, and the Black Tome. The Black Tome is good when you're fighting AoE, from what I've heard. I haven't personally tried it. The Tomato Devil is probably the best skill, and the Never-Ending Arachne is just good because it buffs your attack extremely, since it's a boss monster, so it has the highest attack. However, I found that a lot of people have been using Tomato Devil, I've been using Arachne. I think they're kinda toe-to-toe, it's just a matter of trying whatever feels better for you. For the purpose of the video, I will use Tomato Devil since it's what most people have been using. Let's move on to her arcs. Lacrimosa is a bit of a special character because her signature is really important on her, since it really does make the difference in damage Her signature really provides a lot of buffs, and it also gives her crit rate, so you know it's really good. So her arc basically increases her attack by 14%, and it also grants 1 stack of Chaos Thorn each time you deal dot damage. And if you've been paying attention, Lacrimosa deals dot damage every time she uses her basic attack. And these stacks basically increase your crit damage by 6% per stack for 3 seconds, and you can have up to 10 stacks, which makes your crit damage go up to 60%. If you cast her redirect skill, you will immediately get the 10 stacks, which makes your crit damage immediately up 60%. Also, you will extend the broken state of a broken enemy by 3 seconds when you deal damage to them, only 1 time per break effect, which means it gives you more time to proc Discord to make use of her passive 1. However, if you do not have her signature, if you were unlucky or you don't want to pull for it, I will give you some other options that are not as good, they're probably not even close, but they go as following. The first one is Youthful Fantasy, which is Daffodil's arc. The second one is this Battle Pass arc, which is Fluff of Fleetness. And the last option is an A rank arc called Shiny Days. Honestly, if you really want to make Lacrimosa be on her best state, you want to get her signature. It's really important on Lacrimosa, since the differences between the arcs are noticeable. Moving on to her console build, she wants to have a Diabolus set on her. For the main stats on her cartridge, it varies a bit. If you plan to really min-max Lacrimosa and vertically invest on her, so what this means is basically just focus your materials on Lacrimosa and make sure she is the best possible version of her, you want to get Chaos Damage as your first option. If you plan to use Lacrimosa more as a support, or you don't plan to invest as much on her, you want to get crit rate first. This is because dot damage has a fixed 50% rate, so it doesn't matter if you have more or less, it will always be 50%, which means you will favor more from Chaos Damage bonus rather than crit rate if you plan to invest a lot on her. If you don't have either crit rate or Chaos Damage, you can go for crit damage or attack percent just to fill the slot until you get a better one. Her modules, in my case, look like this, but you basically want to aim for crit damage, crit rate, damage percent, attack percent, and then flat attack. Ignore the other substats, these are the 5 that you want by this order. At level 80, her stats should look like this when she's fully built. 20,000 HP, 2.2k attack, 50 to 80% crit rate depending on whatever you plan to use her for, 100% crit damage plus while out of combat, so without the stacks of the arc, 10% plus universal damage, and 50 to 87.5% Chaos Damage. Also, she will increase her Chaos Damage bonus by 10% for each Type 3 module that you have equipped. To maximize that, you might want to copy the layout I've been using. It's 4 Type 3 modules and the rest to get Diabolus set active. For her teams, you have mainly 2 options. The first one is Discord, which is this team you're watching right here, Lacrimosa, Daffodil, Sakiri, and Danielle. And with Daffodil and Lacrimosa on the team, you have the opportunity to proc a lot of Discords because you can basically charge both Esper cycles and proc not only Nova but also Scorch, which will proc Discord. If you die a lot, you could also swap Sakiri out for Adler, since Lacrimosa does not get iframes when she uses her copied skill, which means Adler can grant you some survivability. The other option could look something like this, or Fadia instead of Aniel. If you use Fadia, use these 2 characters. If you don't use Fadia, once again you can use Adler instead of Sakiri, with Aniel for buffs. And if you want to run a pure Scorch team, you can do this as well. For her rotations, I'm gonna leave it on the screen right now, but it would look something like this. Start by buffing your characters with Aniel and Sakiri. It's what I always do, no matter what. Hold skill. Ult with Aniel. Go to Lacri. Dodge this attack. Activate skill. Go to Daffodil. Ultimate while you have the skill of Lacrimosa ongoing. Skill with Daffodil. Go back to Lacrimosa. 5 basics. Skill, and then ultimate. Then you have your cooldown back, you skill, and you repeat the process. If you can proc Discord, then maximize proccing Discord. You also want to try to get the Daffodil's Phantom Stabs in there. They're very good. And that would be the Hypercarry Lacrimosa team rotation, the Discord team rotation. If you are using Adler instead of Sakiri, then it's the same, but you really just want to proc the shield from Adler before using Lacrimosa's copied skill, so you don't die while doing it so. Especially in the high-risk commissions or during the higher floors of Beyond the Rails, where the enemies can basically kinda one-shot you, Adler is really good. For the Bysong team, the premise is the same, but since you don't have a second Chaos unit, you want to prioritize the reaction from Lacrimosa to Aniel to make sure that you can proc Discord a lot. I will leave the rotations on the screen right now. But it would look something like this. Once again, Always start with Aniel and Sakiri to buff your characters and make sure you get the most out of every single rotation. Go to Sakiri ultimate. Go to Aniel. Lacrimosa, sorry. Use her skill. Go to Bysong. I forgot to apply power word. I should have applied silence. Go to Lacri again. 5 string attack to get my redirect skill. Redirect skill. Dodge, ultimate, and I already have my copied skill back. So now I use my copied skill. Oops, I cancelled it because I wanted to dodge that. And that's when Adler comes in play, because as I've said, you don't get iframes, so if you get Adler, you won't need to dodge those. Proc Discord again. Apply power word. This mob moves around for quite a bit, so it's kind of annoying, but I think it's okay for you to understand the rotations, and that sometimes you have to cancel the rotations, even if it means like fucking it up. Obviously, if you're in a time-gated mode like Beyond the Rails, sometimes it's better to tank the hit, but in this case, since I have plenty of time, I can just take the hits, cancel the animations. But if you want to see a more high stakes video like Beyond the Rails, for example, my previous video was on Beyond the Rails with Lacrimosa, so you can just check there how I played it. Direct skill. Ultimate. And it's done. And this is basically all you want to do with the Bysong team. However, and since we will get into the Awakenings now, you need to keep in mind that if you have A6, Bysong team will be even better, because Lacrimosa on A6 can cast her support skill and trigger the corresponding cycle without having the fully charged Esper cycle. Obviously this has a cooldown of 5 seconds, which is not a lot, but it's still something, otherwise it would be giga broken. But if you do have A6 with Bysong, Sakiri and Danielle, make sure you are proccing constantly Discord reactions, because it's really super good. This Awakening is probably the best Awakening in the game right now. It makes Lacrimosa the best support by far. You can just trigger Discord constantly, which is probably the best reaction in the game. But anyway, let's get into her Awakenings. Her A1 just increases the damage ratio of her dot damage, which is Nightmare. Her A2 increases her damage dealt by 15% for 15 seconds when you tag her in. Her A3 makes her dot stacks faster, so when you use 5 basic attacks, it fully triggers the 10 stacks. Her A4 extends the dot stacks duration to 6 seconds per stack. Her A5 has a lot of words, but it's really simple. She deals Nightmare damage, her dot damage, and based on the damage that she deals with her DOT, she will reduce the target's max HP by 200% of that damage dealt. That very same damage dealt will restore HP every 3 seconds by 1.5% of the total damage dealt. It also prevents the Nightmare stacks from being removed when the target is healed, which can be the case of, for example, Serenity, the boss. And the A6 I've already explained to you, so I don't think there's any need to go over it again. Depending on how you use Lacrimosa, if you want a main DPS or her to be more of a support role, you can upgrade these Awakenings in 2 different orders. If you want her as a main DPS, you want to get A5 first. If you want her more to be a support on Bysong's team, you want A6 first. Afterwards, no matter what, you want to upgrade A4, A3, A2, and A1. Still regarding the Awakenings, you have the bonus for 3 Awakenings and 6 Awakenings, the Resonance effects. Her third one is it's whatever. It increases her skills level by 1 and reduces the stamina cost to 85% when you are flying in her bat form. But when you have her maxed, it's really amazing because you ignore 20% of the target's defense and then you reduce the flying stamina to 70%. Moving on to her pros and cons. She's very good at both single target and AoE scenarios. Since she can basically copy a lot of skills, you can just adapt her based on the scenario that you need. And this also merges a bit with the second point, which is her White Kit that gives her a high variety of ways to approach gameplay. You can basically play her however you want. Although she is a main DPS, if you have her A6 dupe, she can basically be a cycle enabler and off-field DPS, which is really amazing for a character that can do both. And also her second life skill that increases the amount of income from Pink Paw's Heist, that helps you considerably with the grind, not only for the Fawns weekly, but also for the Pink Paw coins that will give you, as I've said previously, some monoliths and skins. Then for her cons, she really doesn't offer any utility to the team outside of damage unless you have her A6 Awakening, and to fully utilize her she demands quite a bit of field time, so you can't really have another character that demands field time on the same team as her since they won't be compatible. You won't be having the buffs permanently on both from your supports, so you have to play characters like Daffodil or Bysong that you can swap in and out. You need to have characters that don't require as much field time, although Bysong still requires quite a bit, so I suggest you only play him if you have A6. And this was my Lacrimosa guide, guys. I hope it helped you. A lot of people have been asking me. I know I've made a ton of guides and I'm really glad that people seem to like them, so yeah, I decided to make a Lacrimosa guide as well. Some people asked me, and that's pretty much it. If you think I've missed something or overlooked something, let me know in the comments. I will try to make things right if it needs to. And yeah, I hope this helped you understand Lacrimosa better, understand what teams you can run with her, understand how to use those teams. And if so, then please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.